everybody, welcome to the Late Horror Show. We are doing a freaking commentary.
I know.
It's been a while, man.
We're going to do one.
Yes, we are going to do it, and this is old school black and white, Universal.
Sweetness.
The Black Cat.
1934.
Not the
1934.
1934.
They did another one in 1941 that also had Bela Lugosi in it and Basil Rathbone.
Yes.
Different movie, different subject, but they did two.
Although
Black
two of my
Cats.
great actors, I love Basil Rathbone. But anyways, yeah. This is going to be, I've seen this for the very first. I'm a Universal fan. I love Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, all that.
You missed this one.
I missed this one. I don't understand
how
I
missed it. It was on TV
it.
like twice a year.
I never seen The Black Cat for some reason.
And
this was so awesome.
I've been talking about doing this one from way back. I gotta do the Black Cat, the Black Cat.
3 years later, we do it.
Yay.
But this movie, we have so much to talk about, man. The imagery, the Art Deco style to this weird architectural house that they have.
Subject matter.
And this is a commentary. We're going to go through scene by scene, and we're going to talk about it.
So we'll tell you when to cue your movie.
It's been a while, so any minute. But yeah.
And also the first pairing of Karloff and Lugosi. They did, I think, 8 movies together for Universal, and this was the first one they did together. And people like to play up, they hated each other and all that because of the history of Lugosi turning down Frankenstein, which made Karloff, a huge star to where it's just Karloff. Even in the credits of this movie, it says Karloff and Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, I don't
You could just say Lugosi as well. How many other Lugosis are running around in 1934?
I think that's the only one I think of, yeah. What you mean?
From anything you read or
welcome.
If you read a biography about them or anything, I mean, they didn't hate each other. They weren't friends, but they were respectful and gentlemanly to each other on set. And for all intents and purposes, seemed to like working together. But there was always that little thing, But
I love Bela. I mean, I'm not going to say nothing about it, but Boris Karloff is the actor.
They both are very intimidating.
Yes, they are.
I think it would be very hard to work across from them. Lugosi in this film, especially, I think is very. When he's in the scene and
he's assertive.
He's very intimidating. I think.
Yeah, for being their first pairing, and I'm telling you,
maybe it was like a competition. Who can be the baddest ass. I'm going to give the edge to Lugosi by the end of the movie for being the biggest badass.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that by the first 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah.
But at the very end, Bela, is the guy. But, and this is him, young with his hair is just thrown back, And the movie does take place in Hungary.
Yeah,
welcome, you're in his spot.
And I've seen this movie several times. I still had to have Dino write the names of the characters down because
Boris plays Polzig. That's who we'll be calling him.
Dr. Werdegast and
Boris Karloff is Polzig.
Right.
And see, we're already screwing.
And I can't even name you the places that it takes place. I know it's some Austro-Hungarian.
Yeah, because half of the words at the very beginning of this movie I couldn't understand. Yeah. There's going to go. You're on your way to Grimvald. There's Grimvald.
You're going to visit Hoshkola.
And I'm going, what the hell? And I'm cleaning my ears.
There were some scenes where the dialogue is a foreign language. Oh my god!
But I am going to start the flick now. So here we go.
Cue it up. If you have it on DVD, it's not on Blu-ray. We need it. But I'm sure you can find it online if you want to watch it. But it's a great movie.
Oh, it is. It's queued up, and
I love how they start there with the Universal picture and the plane going around.
Oh, if you get a chance to check out all of our other Universals that we've done, that they're on a playlist of ours, go check that out. Well, you can see it through my sunglasses now. Look at it. Right. And it's The Black Cat. And it's funny because the premise of the title of the movie, The Black Cat, is Bela Lugosi's role is got some kind of phobia of black cats.
Yeah.
And he freaks out, powerless, to where Polzig takes control.
Directed by Edgar Ulmer.
Werdegast.
Yeah. And don't you love how it says suggested by the Edgar Allan Poe story when it absolutely has nothing to do with the Edgar Allan Poe story, The Black Cat. And even the one that they made in 1941 has nothing to do with the Edgar Allan Poe poster.
Yes.
But see, Edgar Allan Poe is very in
But I like
vogue.
the-
It's still at this time. Still it. Well, I don't know. Maybe all you people never bothered to
Oh,
read
he's
him.
he's classic, old school,
but,
dark poetry, all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
a lot of people
stories.
don't read anymore. So.
No, they don't.
But
That's why you get these adaptations. And I do like how the beginning of the movie, how they, they show the characters talking with their names underneath it.
Yeah,
that's
little
typical
scenes from the
old
movie.
school,
That's cool.
movies where they would do that and stuff like that.
And I don't know where they are here at the beginning of the film. I think they might be in France or something.
They're
like
from
that.
U.S., but yeah, they're evidently somewhere else, and they're getting on a train to go to.
Because I saw the building that says Sortier, and I think that's like French. I always remember from the Pink Panther movies. Inspector Clouseau of the Sortier.
The Sortier.
So when I see that building, then I figure they're in Paris somewhere. Mm-hmm. And there's people with these big baguettes, and they're loading the train up and all that jazz. So yeah, they just got married, and they're going on their honeymoon.
Yes.
To someplace
Grimmelshore or something.
I don't know. They're going.
I don't even know what to say.
Someplace outside, near the Carpathian Mountains, because it's where everybody goes. It's the spot. I mean, I like even at towards the end of the movie, the husband later in the movie, the husband jokes, "Next time I'm going to Niagara Falls."
And let me just say again, this is my thing with these women from this period. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, even though she's not stunning as a lot of the other actresses, she's still very beautiful. And she's got that thin eyeliner.
If you look at her picture, like on what is it?
Jones something.
Jones something or other. Well, that's her name in the film. But yeah, if you check out some pictures of her, like on IMDb or whatever, yeah, okay, she's a looker. Go look them up, and
his let me first say this scene where they're in a train and stuff. Did you notice the music they were playing?
It almost sounded like Laurel and Hardy kind of music.
I was going to say that. This is a horror movie, but it
was very playful kind of music. Another thing about this,
and I'm like going, what is this music doing in the background?
This is one of the few old movies like this that has music throughout almost the entire movie.
Yeah.
King Kong was the first movie to have its own soundtrack.
And the one we did.
Right. Oh, of course. Yeah. This doesn't have its own soundtrack, but a good chunk of the movie, more than half of it's got music in it.
Yeah.
And, most of the time if you watch these old uni horror movies, it's a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end. And that's about it.
And here comes Bella.
Yeah, evidently there's been a mistake. They sold a seat in this, like a trains had the traveling cars, box cars.
Oh, and have I mentioned how much I love that? I love movies. That's why I can't wait. That's why I can't wait to see Murder on the Orient Express. There's a new movie that I actually am a little excited to see.
Even though you already know who the killer is.
Right, and I could go back and watch the other old train mystery stories. Sherlock Holmes has one. But anyways,
but it's just an
I love
elegant
these
way of
old,
traveling.
Oh God, yeah.
Such a cool travel cross country. I'm a big fan of Buster Keaton. He loved trains. The General is all about trains. But yeah, I love the shots in the movie that show the of the train moving, the steam going. I mean, it's exciting.
Oh yeah, I love that. It, man.
I like that. I didn't know you dug trains, man.
Oh heck yeah, man! A lot of my old murder mysteries revolve around the trains, and those are the best ones.
That's an interesting device because the killer's there.
Yeah, but they seem to. The old movies would always make the train seem not in aspect ratio, like larger than it is, but larger than life. You know what I mean? Like there's always a nook and cranny somewhere that the murderer or the suspect is hiding or can get through. And that's what just intrigued me. And you go get something to eat over there, and so it just was. I love it, man. But
that's cool.
Okay, and this movie does get dark. This is about Satan worship. Okay. Cut to the end of the movie, but we'll continue.
But it's going to end up going into that territory.
It will be, yeah.
Bella joins them. He's Dr. Werdegast.
Yeah.
He's a psychiatrist, which was very in vogue in the early 1930s. So they wanted to throw some psychology in there.
Yes.
And Aleister Crowley was around, and they threw the dark worship in there.
Mm-hmm.
But he joins them. They thought they had the car to themselves, their honeymoon and whatnot. But now they got to share with this creepy guy.
Yep. You can't do nothing.
And, he's very, he's the Hungarian gentleman.
Yes, he is.
There's a scene I'm talking about with the train.
Oh yeah. They've done that a couple times.
Yep.
Just grease it up and keep it going.
Grease it up. And he's going to share a little bit of his history with them as time goes by.
He's kind of entranced with the female for some reason.
Well, she reminds him
Joan.
of There's
the lead characters Peter and Joan.
Right,
That's their
Peter,
names.
the newlyweds.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that a creepy scene? Joan's asleep. Peter's awake, and Werdigast, Bela Lugosi, just takes his hand, doesn't even touch her, just kind of
glance, like he feels her essence
just
or her
around her hair, and he's like
her aura.
He even says, "Thank you for your indulgence." You know, she reminds me of a beautiful girl I had at home, my wife. And basically the nitty-gritty of the story is that he was a soldier in the war. We're presuming like, Austro-Hungarian, World War I, something going on, whatever. And that he had been imprisoned in a Siberian, I almost imagine like that movie Midnight Run, like where the guy, it was like a cave or whatever that he was in, and that he was in. He talks about this dark pit for 15 years. He's like, many men go in, not many men come out. I have come out.
Yes.
No,
I love that, man.
I survived.
Yes.
And he's on his way. I forget where they're going, but he's on his way to the same place where the newlywed couple is going. To see an old friend.
Look who's back, you guys. Little Clowny over there.
Oh.
Anyways.
But yeah, you can tell by the way he says it, and it's not like a good friend he's going to go see. So we'll get a little bit more of that story as we go on. But this film, he's after revenge, and he's going to have his bloody satisfaction by the end of this movie.
Yeah, which we'll get into very quickly here. But,
and we were talking before the podcast that if there's any fault in this movie, it's that they pack so many ideas in here.
Yeah,
an hour and 5 minutes is not enough.
Yeah, thing with old Universal horrors and movies of the time period is they're roughly around an hour long. Some an hour 10, rarely an hour 20, but you'll get that sometimes. But roughly around a little bit over an hour. And they pack so much. And I think that's why they work so well. I mean, of course, like
it lets
we
you
were
fill
talking
in the
about
gaps a little bit.
Yes.
This one, I feel like
it did need a little bit
it needed
more.
something. It's not a perfect movie. No. I really love it because it's creepy and it's great to watch in the dark.
It's one of those movies.
It's like an Island of Lost Souls to watch it in the dark because it's so creepy.
Yes.
And the performances by Bela and Boris Karloff are fantastic.
Oh, and we're jumping to the scene here where they get
it's like a bus. Yeah. It's a weird kind
like
of
a taxi bus that's going to take them on their way to the train station, I think, another one, or Grimm's.
Yeah, because they're going somewhere else.
Yeah, some weird name place.
Bela Lugosi's character, Dr. Werdigast, is his friend is near here, so they're all sharing a ride here. Oh, and he also has a servant with him named Thamel.
Thamel, yes. He's some Siberian, he's a white guy. Well, you would
he
take
might
that.
Be Siberian.
Well, he could be, but back in the day, they would always make. Oh, here goes the crash. But they make his eyelashes up so that he looks kind of like Asian, Siberian, Asian, whatever, that kind of thing.
You're right.
So he's in character, just like the Charlie Chans of the day. They would make him. But Bela closes his eyes.
Well, you know what? Because the cab driver
yeah.
is talking about the area, and this is very near the place where Dr. Werdigast, Bela Lugosi.
I love how Bela goes, he's dead.
I know.
And he take the girl.
Yeah, the bus crashes. Everybody survives except the bus driver.
Right.
And he's talking about how there was a fort here.
He's dead.
And
a
big battle where 10,000 people died.
Yeah.
And now this... Mr. Polzig, Jamal, whatever, who used to be the commander of the fort who was there, that built his house on that very spot where these 10,000 souls have died. He built his house basically on top of their graves. And even when they show the house on the hill, there's little gravestones and markers all around.
Which I'll talk about in a second, but here you're going to get a quick glimpse.
So because the bus crashed, they're going to take them all up to that house.
See, look at commentary. The movie's so packed in.
But
we can't even catch up sometimes.
When the guy opens the door.
So much I want to say real quick. But
what is it, Major Domo or whatever, opens the door. That's the character's name.
He's like a scary-looking Dracula's character. What's his name?
A Renfield
kind of
character?
But a Renfield and a Moe character put in
but he does
one
say
with
to
a
him,
black bow haircut.
Where is Polzig? And, he's retired for the night. He's like, he is expecting me. So it's like he knew he was coming. He made it clear. He even says he will be expecting me.
Yeah, so whether he was going to be dropped off there or how he was going to get there, who knows? But there's a crash anyway.
Interesting relationship between the two of them. I mean, obviously they hate each other.
Well, you get and you get your first glimpse of this house, and this is a main part of this movie.
For a 1930s movie, this is a very weird house.
Architecturally, it's Art Deco to a point. You know what I mean? It's got that.
And it's
vibe
almost
to
science fiction-y.
A little bit, but
the way
it does have the
doors
Art
all
Deco.
slide.
Yeah, and everything's so clean.
Look at this scene here. When all you see,
yes,
you see a blonde lady laying in the bed.
And in pre-code, they're showing her belly, which is very rare for one of these
little
old,
bosom.
Yes.
And you just see the shadow, the silhouette of Boris Karloff rise up.
You notice right before that he tosses the blanket over her belly area in midsection and to cover her, you know.
So we don't know who that girl is yet, but we will find out.
But she was very, very...
She wasn't bad.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
That's
anyway.
what I'm talking about. Joan, in that crash, sustained a slight injury. She had to be carried to
Let me wrap you up
Polzig's house.
Bandages.
Yeah, he's putting some little bandage up here, and, you know, Bella decides he needs to give her a narcotic, so he's going to inject her.
Let me inject her with something to knock her out.
You know, I mean, she's got
and
like
I love
a scratch.
the explanation. First of all, they do this in the old movies back then, and you know what? It was a common thing they did. Sedate them if they're hurt. They're stressed.
She needs sleep. Rest is what she needs right now.
She needs a shot of heroin or cocaine.
Speedball. We'll give her a speedball.
Which was, you know, of the time period.
Oh, and the door opens, and here we see
I'll talk about
Karloff.
that in a second. Here,
Look, he's got that weird, like kind of like Fonzie haircut.
No.
Man, look at that.
Polzig's Boris Karloff's character is Art Deco-y, just like the house.
You know,
He's
very
got
angular hair.
I mean, first of all, Boris Karloff's got those straight lines to his face. The hair here is just cut back, you know, like to a point, almost like an Art Deco
Look at
type
them
thing.
facing each other.
And like you said, kind of like a space agey. It's very hard to lump exactly what this is.
You know
can
what's
talk
interesting
about
in this scene?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go
But
ahead.
I gotta say it quick. After watching Frankenstein, you always picture Karloff being this towering individual. But look at them right here. You know, Bella's actually taller than Karloff. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
No.
I thought that you get that larger-than-life impression of him from watching Frankenstein. And then you watch this and you say, you know, Bella's got the edge on him a little bit.
Bella's a little bit taller.
And just
I will
when they're
film
facing each other.
if you make me taller than Boris.
The tension when they face each other.
Oh, when you see, because it's Dracula, Frankenstein, you see them pair off.
And Dr. Wordegast just explains to you, you know, when there was an accident, whatever, they're here. You know, she's going to have to stay with us tonight.
Yeah, giving her some narcotics.
Very well.
And
And
I like how she
slip out.
Like how she wakes up in a little bit, and he goes.
Yeah, she gets all exorcisty Reagan when she comes downstairs. You're gonna die up there.
But he goes, it's probably the narcotics working its way. It hasn't. So whatever narcotic he shoots up takes a while to do its job. Yeah. But whatever.
So now we've got Wordegast and Polzig. They're like in his office.
And I'm getting the names mixed up.
I'm trying my best. Because all the times I've seen this, I could never remember the names.
They're very, they're
very difficult to say for Americans. And, you know, he's talking about, you know, I was in that hellhole for 15 years.
Oh, they come
I know you're the one that sold us out.
And look at him just sitting there, man, in his throne, in his chair.
And basically,
Boris Karloff.
Yeah, Bella accuses him basically of
calling them their names,
selling them out. He was the leader of their regiment, whatever, and he's accusing him of selling them out, and that's why they all got.
For my wife,
and that was another thing. That's why he's accusing him of doing it, because he's like, "Where's my wife?" You know, he's like, "I tracked you to America. I tracked you to South America, to Spain. Now here, wherever." And he's like, "I know even before the war, you wanted her, and from the first time you saw her, you wanted her." And he's saying that basically he's accusing him, that's why you sold us all out, to get me in that prison so you could take her for yourself. And he's just sitting there. I mean, he almost looks like a beaten man. But
he does, but he's just he's in deep thought you could tell he's churning over his plan in his head over and over and over. Like nobody's going to do anything here, and I like the characters. Thamel, who's Bella's kind of servant butler, and Major Domo, who's Boris's servant, and they both are kind of like, even though Thamel is gigantic and not dumb, but just very quiet and never says a word. And Major Domo, who's shorter and a little more hunched over, never says a word.
Not too much.
I don't think
he has a couple lines about the car not working and all that, but
also he goes, "The car's not working, boss."
Now, did we have the point? Did he already tell? I think in this scene here is where he tells.
He's not no Marty Feldman.
Karloff tells Bella that his wife has died. Is that happened already? I think in here he tells her she died a couple years ago
like
of
that.
Pneumonia.
Well, he knows his wife's dead, I think, but his daughter.
Oh, he asked where his wife is. He had a wife and daughter. And
he says she died, and then he says, "Well, where's my daughter?" And he goes, "She's dead." And he goes, "What from?" Basically, and he tells him from pneumonia. So evidently both of them are dead, and I think her name's Karen, the daughter.
The wife's name was Karen, and ironically, the daughter's name is Karen as well.
Right.
This gets really weird.
No, it is weird.
Like you. It's like your mind fills in the gaps in the story a little bit.
Don't underestimate this movie. This movie's deep, dark, and has a story to tell.
But it's fun that you can kind of put your own thing in it too. Look at this weird radio. What's his name? Peter just comes in the room, and they have to put on nice faces. Oh, we were just going to have a drink. Now you will join us. They're going to have their... What would you like?
Put on the radio.
Whiskey. Excellent.
I love the voice.
But that radio there, it looks like a clock, but he turns what looks like the minute hand, but it's a radio.
It's art. Weird. It's a form of Art Deco. It really is. I mean, if you were to have an antique dealer or somebody come in, they would tell you that's Art Deco style.
Let's count how many times Dino says Art Deco in this podcast.
I know. I keep saying it.
The black cat makes its appearance.
This is where we do it. Okay, no more Art Deco. But this is
This is insane. Bella goes nuts, drops his drink. There just happens to be a knife on the table. Boom!
He throws
like a circus performer, and you just hear wow. I mean.
Did he get the cat?
Yeah, he kills the cat.
So is there more than one cat there then?
Yeah, there's more than one cat.
Yeah, evidently he's got cats roaming around.
I killed the cat.
He punched it out.
I threw the knife. I hit it in the head.
Oh, what? Okay. But yeah, this is where she comes down like Reagan in The Exorcist.
Yeah, Joan comes down and she starts talking some loony shit.
But yeah, Dr. Vitas Werdegast, Bella.
Vitas.
He's got this big, gigantic phobia of the black cat, and that's his downfall.
Yeah.
She goes,
you didn't like the cat? No, it's just throwing knives at whatever.
He's got the problem.
I forget what that's called. I think it starts with an A, some kind of phobia, but
of black cats.
Of cats.
Okay.
Yes. I
love the way
Boris's voice.
Yes, I know.
He has in the most extreme phobia of cats. How great to just... I wish this guy narrated every book.
His extents of movies and film and radio and voiceovers and stuff is just immense. I mean, this guy...
And I always find it odd that, Frankenstein was the 100th film he'd already done 100 films before he even did Frankenstein. He was just always a background or bit player.
And afterwards,
even the old Scarface, the original Scarface, he was in that. And
which is an awesome movie.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I love he's walking around in this robe, some Art Deco robe.
There should be a little counter up here.
Art Deco counter.
There's another one. Ding, ding, ding.
I am not counting how many times I say
No, don't count. Let them count.
One!
One Art Deco.
One Art Deco.
Oh, so they carry Joan back upstairs. She's a little loopy, and Dr. Werdegast tells her I gave her a very powerful narcotic.
Yes,
I'm going to have a little bit myself when I go to my room.
It will take a while to kick
Which
in.
would be a little, telling, because this is real life.
But Boris is in his, his pajama or robe, fancy robe type thing, and Bella's kind of got his gray flannel suit on.
I don't think it's flannel.
No, that would be very thick wool. It looks more like wool.
Suits are so uncomfortable,
especially back in the day, man.
Yes.
Stuff away.
Look how tight that tie and collar look around his neck,
and his handkerchiefs. And I love. You know what? His robe almost looks space age.
That's what I'm saying. This is
space age love song.
It's odd.
Made that up.
I can't. And that's one of the things that always stuck with me. It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have anything to add to it. So.
Okay.
But that was always one of the things that stuck
Cherokee
with me.
people.
He almost looks Asian. I don't know. It almost looks like a samurai robe. I feel like he's gonna whip out a katana.
You know what? That's what it looks like too. Like he can be like, he's like in what's the huts and the homes? How they, it's paper walls.
Yeah.
And what is it called?
That's just houses in Japan, I guess.
It's a paper house.
I know. I mean, every samurai movie you see, they're always running through the goddamn walls. Okay, this ain't stopping nobody.
No, I break down paper.
God.
There's some kid crayoning on it and it pokes through.
Sleep on the floor. The pillows always look like it's a brick wrapped in a cloth, laying their head on it. These poor people. Jeez, they're eating with sticks.
It's healthy though. They're at one with the earth.
Eating with stick. I mean,
flat.
Don't they have shovels and shit?
I would.
Didn't they figure? Wait a minute.
I wouldn't even be able to.
I could be eating my rice with
stand up if I laid flat on a floor overnight.
I know.
I'd get up. And go, oh my God! Take me to the hospital.
I'm sure these rice cans aren't that comfortable. I'll try it. I mean, I'll take my Tempur-Pedic.
Oh my God!
So Joan's in her room.
Yes.
Boris shows Bela to his room, which is right next to Joan, and then he shows Peter to his room, which is the second door down.
Which is funny that he separates them that way.
Mm-hmm. But then Bela opens the door right away and says, I figured you'd want to be by your wife.
Yes.
And he's doing this on purpose, not so that he can be by his wife, because he knows Karloff's going to sneak in his room trying to do some sneaky shit.
Yeah.
So, hey, better him than me.
Yeah, he knows what's up, so he switches rooms so that...
The old switcheroo.
Yeah, the old switcheroo.
That's the old switcheroo.
Like Scooby-Doo gang going through doors and back and forth.
It's a good thing they knew the old Hucklebuck there.
Yeah. And he looks in on his... Peter looks in on Joan. Oh, she's...
What's that thing right next to the bed?
It's an Art Deco clock.
It looks like there's a digital clock on top of it. I wish you could... if the stupid suitcase lid would go down, it looks like a digital clock.
It's an Art Deco clock.
You better put a timer up here, so it doesn't look like I'm just...
Art Deco. Bing, 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 bing.
So, so Bela pops his head back in, and I like how Peter just he's like, man, this whole house freaks me out. This is not the kind...
This is a big skull. This is a big skull. Anyways.
Not so much if I get closer, though.
Yes,
if he could leave the door open, because he wants to hear when Karloff comes in.
Yes, he does. He says that too. So
Bela's
he knows what he's doing. He's plotted his revenge.
Peter says, this is the kind of place I want to have company in. It's just a creepy house. And it's not the old dark house. It's just...
No, it's got its own very dark Art Deco-y. I'm joking.
No, I mean, now it's a
now
thing.
You just got me. Yeah, I'm just going to keep saying
now it's got to be in every podcast.
Oh my God.
So,
I don't know about that.
Every podcast.
But this one's very Art Deco.
We're going to find some Art Deco in every movie. Look at that. It is a digital... No, it's not digital.
No, it's...
But he even picked up a little handle.
Goes like this and runs and...
Almost like a hospital call bell, and he turned the light off with it.
Yeah.
It's weird. Look at this. Now Karloff's walking around.
Yes, here we go.
Petting a black cat, and he's walking by. He's got like a menagerie of women. There's another one. He's just got women frozen in glass, floating in glass.
Floating in glass cases, like dowels would be planted in these little glass display cases.
I mean, I think they showed 3 of them. Then here's another one. Here's a third one.
Yeah.
He's got a whole menagerie.
And this one looks younger too, which is scary.
Odd. I don't know. Is that another one? There's
I
another
think
one.
so. Yeah.
There's another one.
That's what I'm saying. What's going on? Well,
See,
you know
they
what?
don't explain who these women are.
They don't, but we find out what...
We know who one of them is, but we don't know who these other women are.
And do we... I'm trying to think at the end of the movie, we really don't have a conclusion on what takes place for these women to be... So
preserved like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he lets the little black cat go, opens the door. He's got a whole chamber that's just a menagerie of dead women encased in glass, sort of floating in there. Preserved.
And that scene that you guys just saw there with them floating in this case, it just made it very macabre.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they don't... He doesn't say anything. There's no dialogue in the scene.
Walks by, and leaves it to us to wonder
who these women are, what they're doing there, why he did this. And sure as shit, here he is. He comes into Peter's room thinking it's Lugosi's room. Like, oh, I was just checking on you. Yeah,
well, you're just checking on me, Boris. He was saying, but that is like kind of down in the cellar area, I think, or something like that. But even there is...
Well, it sure ain't the room off the kitchen.
No.
So it does look like it's down in the basement somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, you all right?
Yeah, you know. Sometimes it goes down the wrong pipe.
Oh, Grandpa's back.
Grandpa? Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe. What's
that Snapchat hasn't been back for a while. Not since Christmas.
Didn't I put that in one of my podcasts?
Yeah, Grandpa Joe.
Okay, did he come in here and he came into the room to get Bella?
Yeah,
and
gonna do some sneaky shit.
And I forget what he says there.
They go off into Bella's room. They have just a few words.
But Peter jumps up and he's like going,
at each other.
You know what the, and he just rolls over and goes back to bed.
Let's go see Damal.
Yes, let's go. He's standing down there.
I don't even remember. What are they talking about in this scene?
I don't know, but these guys their servants never sleep.
No, man. He tells them to back off. I remember even, I don't know if it's happened already. I think at one point, Bella even tells his servant, you serve Karloff. You're his servant while we're here.
Does he really?
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but they're going to go down in the cellar here. Yeah. He's going to show him. Because he wants to see his wife.
I got some vintage wine.
That's what it is. He wants to see his wife. Okay. He's going to show her where she's at.
She says, you want to know where he is?
And this is the fort where they did battle, more than 15 years ago. And he built it right on top of the fort. So there's still some leftovers, the underground areas of the fort.
Leftover turkey meat.
He even says, do you recognize it?
And he goes, I do recognize it very, very much.
Just the tension between these two characters is really good. And this is actually, out of all the movies they did together, this one's usually considered the best one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they can't get any better than this. Or can they?
I guess there could always be something better.
Okay, I take that back.
But...
Art Deco.
Art Deco.
But yeah,
into the menagerie.
Yeah, he brings them down and...
Here's my collection.
There's water on the ground, so it's not as clean down there as it is upstairs.
It's not as clean.
I think Boris Karloff...
what is that there? Is that a graph or something?
Polzig. Yeah, there's a weird...
But it's like a window. But here is Karen.
And her hair is just like standing straight up. But it's so odd, isn't it?
This is Karen, Lugosi's dead wife. And, he even asks, why is she like this? Why did you keep her like this? Just, I had to preserve her beauty.
Yeah. And the look on their faces are just so intense.
The faces
so classic.
are very beautiful in a way.
I agree.
Just look at this scene of Karloff. Like if you have your DVD, just pause it for a second. Just,
oh my God!
Both of their faces here.
Look at their character,
very picturesque and
iconic,
beautifully filmed faces. And there's even a scene towards the end with a lot of close-ups of the cult members. And I really like that scene too.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a beautiful person or a craggly, deep. Line
it's
person.
The way they do it. The black and white, the darkness, the real close-up of the face with emotion. I mean, it's just
the only
stunning.
movie I can kind of compare that to is a movie I used to love watching as a kid. I still love watching Moby Dick with Gregory Peck.
Okay.
From like 1954.
Yeah, when they get the close-up.
It's you get a lot of those close-ups in that film, but that film was filmed in in a weird color scheme to make it look like a painting. And
there's Bella with the cat again.
Yes, sees the cat again and starts freaking out.
He breaks that glass and behind.
I wish I had just like a big glass of like a chart, a graph.
I don't know what that is, but he pulled out his gun.
Why is he afraid of cats?
He pulled out his gun.
Yeah,
he was going to shoot.
He was going to pop a cap in its ass
until the black cat came, and whether Polzig summons the cat or not because he knows. Who knows? I don't know.
I think it's just a happenstance. I feel like it's just a happenstance.
So. You think it just so happened that...
It's almost like Polzig knows he's got it coming. Yeah. But they're both just taunting each other, waiting for the moment. Like Bella, I think by rights, he should be killing the guy. He should have just opened the door, pop, pop, pop. Gangsta style.
Well, he didn't know certain information, though. He didn't even know that
he wanted to know about his...
killed, and technically she is, and she's alive.
Well, we're gonna find that out. Because Karloff's a twisted mofo.
Stay tuned for the next.
It's like he had to replace replace the wife.
It seems like that must be what he did with all those women, though.
Maybe
replace one after the after.
But that's what's cool about this movie. You don't know why they're all down there.
No, because there's an awful lot of them.
Yeah,
I mean, does he use one for 1 year and he puts them up there and gets rid of them, or?
Man, I wish you just didn't have to have one to begin with. I mean, what's the point of having even one? Unless you could put something on, like that ball thing you could put in your mouth and wrap around your head. I'm sure most of you guys got one of those things.
Gag ball.
Yeah, gag. But yeah, you knew what it's called. If that was
I use it quite often.
Standard issue
in the playroom.
You get married, the preacher hands you one of those. Oh look, man, Boris is going to retire for the night, and he lays down in bed with his blonde, and he does some little
beautiful
caresses the face. You're all so beautiful.
Karen is so beautiful. She's got that pale white blonde hair, the silk sheets, the silhouette of the. Okay, I'm. Calm down. Calm down.
It's a fantastic scene.
Calm down. But we find out
it's filmed like this for a reason. It does something inside.
But he's got some control over her too. Because he comes up to her and just like brings his hand across her eyes.
He's definitely got her
like some kind
something.
of hypnotic spell. That's pretty much what they kind of make it seem like. So whether it has something to do with the satanic,
he's got
witchcraft,
he's got powers from the goddamn devil.
Yeah,
Oh, I think this is the scene where Bela Lugosi's telling his servant, you will serve Damel, that you will be Karloff's servant while we're here. Yeah, he's got his plans. Wheels within wheels.
That is strange, though. I kind of noticed. Yeah. I don't know how I skipped over that part, but
I don't know. Oh, look, Boris is going to read a little. He's going to read a few pages before he goes to sleep. It's the rites of Lucifer.
In the night, in the dark.
In the dark of the moon, the high priest assembles his disciples for the sacrifice. The chosen maiden is garbed in white. So, okay, now we get a little hint of where this movie's going now.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, there were certainly silent films that dealt with devil worship and stuff like that, Haxan or whatever. But I don't think there had been many, of the talkies.
No,
that was
not many at all.
This issue.
Especially Universals. I mean, they really didn't.
And there was a cool little fade scene that just came up. You see the new day is coming in. It was a little upward, fade. Like you see it like in Star Wars and the old Westerns.
Daylight just came up, and Joan wakes up in her silky night. Oh my god!
Who dressed her in that silky nightgown before she went to bed?
It had to have been Peter.
I think it was Major Domo.
You think it was Major Domo?
And look, she opens the door and Bella's standing right there. Oh, good morning! I come to check your dressing.
My dressing?
And she doesn't remember anything. She remembers the accident, but nothing after that, even the things that she said when she was all coked up.
Because she hit her head on the car and she didn't know what was going on.
I don't know. Her bandage is right there above the boobie, which is probably just a scratch.
Probably. You got the scratch. We must shoot you up with a narcotic.
That's how it was back then.
And I love in the mysteries and stuff like that, where like the Sherlock Holmes, Charlie Chan's and stuff like that. Any woman gets out of control, there's a doctor around to give her a sedative.
That's right. They just carry that shit in their bag.
It was always a main thing back in the day. It was part of shut that woman up.
You gotta,
give her a shot.
Hopefully it's a sterile
sedate her.
needle, and I use it for everybody. It's fine.
Yeah, we put this in you too. Here.
Infecting
Isn't
you
it
with Christ
funny?
knows what.
Isn't that funny though?
Yeah.
I mean, we won't talk about that, but
Well, it's just
yeah,
a plot
you know,
device, just to shut the woman up, because that's pretty
No,
much what they want to do.
the whole needle thing. You know,
Yeah.
back in the day, you know, which wasn't that very long ago.
They probably just
you
dropped
could
it
do that with many people, and nothing's gonna. You're not spreading nothing, but
No.
80s, you know, 70s, 80s, then you know, you're
Well, all
spreading
these
anything
diseases
with
just
it.
magically pop up.
Right, you know.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You know, there you go. That's another show.
We got some monkey
But,
kids running around. God, look how... And then Boris pops in to check on things.
And I love his Art Deco wool suit. I mean,
Yeah,
but
it's almost... Yeah,
he's got some weird outfit on. I love it.
But just that look...
The style is so one of a kind.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, when you watch this, do you see this in any other kind of... I'm trying to think. Metropolis kind of had a weird vibe to it.
Sure.
But,
well, you know what? Here, let's put it this way. The guy who directed this film
Mm-hmm.
worked with Fritz Lang, who directed Metropolis. Elmer, or whatever his... I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But the director here did...
Which you guys can't
yeah.
see because it's not in
Here
frame.
it is, Metropolis.
We're
Yes,
living in Metropolis.
so obviously, he was he worked with...
That's the church. 1989.
So there we go. We just put
Check
it all...
it out.
We all just put it together. Does that light up?
No.
Oh, man, that's
I
cool.
wish it did. But...
Great movie, by the way, if you guys haven't seen this movie.
Back in Metropolis.
It's a long movie for
Yes.
for a silent, but it's fantastic.
Oh, my.
It deserves a place of honor.
I know.
here,
I
too.
tried to before we started.
So yeah,
but
I'm surprised I didn't put that together at first, because I did actually a little backstory here while they're playing this chess game, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, we'll talk about chess game.
The
It takes a
director
while,
of the
but-
film ended up having
You want to play me in chess?
an
You
affair
know you
with
will. Okay.
I believe it's the lady who plays Joan, and she was married to Carl Laemmle is the one who produced all these horror films.
Yeah,
and she
Carl
was married
Laemmle.
to one of his nephews.
Okay.
And this whole situation, this affair, and they ended up getting this particular director, blacklisted, pretty much for the rest of his career. Just got to make like shit movies the rest of his
That's what I
career.
have Ted here for.
I read that on IMDb or something today.
Okay, I
just
didn't-
one little tidbit.
That's what I did. I didn't go reading the IMDb.
There wasn't
today,
much
this one,
back
but-
info. A lot of these old movies doesn't have a whole lot. But a
Joan.
classic scene just kind of zipped by where Weddergast and Polzig are going to play a game of chess.
Yeah, Boris and Bella meet up.
And there are stakes for this game.
Yes.
The stakes are, he says to
There's a couple
Polzig,
of ribeyes, T-bone.
T-Bone.
So there's a
T-Bone.
T-bone.
Guess we better
I'm
call
T-Bone.
you T-Bone.
I'm
No,
T-Bone.
T-Bone. We'll call you Coco.
That's Seinfeld. Okay, that's a Seinfeld reference. Anyway.
But he even says, you have no intention of letting this couple leave, do you? And they're going to
No, I
play
don't.
for her soul.
That's
Because he's telling them, tonight is
unstable.
I don't think this table's entirely stable.
No.
What is it? It's the night of the moon or whatever, the night of the dark moon,
Or the living dead.
something like that. It's going to be
It's the night of the
It's a
moon.
big night for the devil worshippers.
Yes.
And
The
isn't it
Satanists
funny how
come out.
it's always the
Satanist clown.
It's always
night.
the hoity-toity
The
high
Satan's
society
clown.
that want to be the devil worshippers, even in Hollywood, and they, screw the kids and eat pizza and walnuts and
and open the gates
and worship Moloch and our big friggin' demon god we're all going to worship so we could be rich and make movies.
join Scientology, and then we'll go 2Gs. And trying to separate these words. You guys know what we're talking
Bunch
about.
of douchebags.
Anyways,
Anyway, see, that's why I don't watch new movies. They're all a bunch of douchebags.
amen.
Yeah, there we
Sister,
go, man.
brother. But yeah, they
Even in the week since we've done the last podcast, how many celebrities have been outed? For
don't watch American Beauty.
being-
But anyways, well, I mean,
I didn't watch that piece of crap anyway. It's all a lot of pedophiles.
oh, so
So yeah, the chess game is over there,
There's-
over her soul. Who's going to win? Karloff even tells him, "You're not going to win." And he doesn't. Checkmate.
So there comes a knock at the door,
Yes.
and Major Domo goes over and lets, I guess, who is and I love the constable, the sheriff, whoever the person that's in charge of the police department in these small towns and villages are just all done up in like military garb.
Yeah. It was a serious job.
You know, dressed up to the
And
T.
one's tall, the other one's kind of short and squat.
Yes.
It's an interesting, one's all serious, the other one's kind of funny.
Yes, the way they do it back then.
It was like
you
Lethal
know?
Weapon, but back in the 30s.
Yes. but he comes up to the door and they start talking into this. I guess it's Hungarian. And
He
Bella
wants to
starts
follow
speaking.
up on the car crash.
Yeah.
So.
And he goes, I see.
And then.
But the funny part about
No, go ahead.
funny part
Everybody
about
says the
this
same
is
thing.
because Peter, you know, they want to get the hell out of there.
Yes.
And this guy who's, I don't even know his name. We'll just call him the constable, whatever, the
Okay.
sheriff, whatever you want to call him.
Good enough for me.
He goes, basically, we don't have vehicles.
Yeah, he asks if
we
Peter
use-
asks if he can get a ride with them. He's desperate for any way to get out of here.
He says, we only use bikes,
Right.
a bicycle.
You know, because he's already been told,
In that garb, he's riding around on a bicycle.
Yeah, it's cool. Maybe it's a tandem bike. Yeah, maybe the two of them ride together. And then there's like a little competition between the two law officers because they find a newlywed couple and they're going to the one guy's hometown. Like, oh no, you don't go there. That's not so nice. You come to my hometown. You know, it's got everything. Like, oh, maybe nice 10, 15 years ago. Now, not so much. Like they're probably just like 3 miles apart down the road or something like that.
Yeah, it must be this very small village or whatever. But yeah, they only have bicycles, and Peter's trying his hardest to get them out.
Don't you find it funny? Like,
And I love.
how many times can you fit Europe inside the United States? Maybe 1, 2 times, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like 85 different languages over there, and we've pretty much got English here. I mean, you cross 2 borders, you're completely screwed. You're like, what?
I know. It's like
How could it be that much different?
it's like going from Ohio to Kentucky, and
what?
you're like, what are you talking?
Well, actually, that kind of happens when you go to Kentucky.
That's true.
What?
Oh my god! I like how Peter goes up to Bella and Boris, and they're playing chess, and he's and he tells Boris pretty much tells him, "Shut the hell up! We're playing a chess game."
Yeah, he's being kind of rude.
Yeah, he's telling you, "Shut up."
Because he wants to leave. He's like, you're not going to be able to get a train till 11 o'clock, and he's like, well,
We'll call it. There's got to be a hotel down there. We'll call.
So
and,
first, Major Domo is going to go call check for the car, and the car doesn't work.
Right.
How convenient.
There's a list that goes in.
Oh, goodness. I so very rarely use the automobile.
Who would have known?
Right.
But yeah, and then, look at that Art Deco scene with.
It's like a big tic-tac-toe.
It's an expanse.
When I see that wall, I just want to play
staircase.
Scrabble.
Yeah, put a big A up there. Saddle. Xylophone.
So Peter overhears that the car is not working. It's like, well, okay, I'll call the hotel down in Jababaland, and they'll send a car to come pick us up.
Yeah, we're trying to get to Chimay.
Yeah, wherever. Yakshamash.
They're in the Middle East.
We live in the, we live in like a big Polish area. You think we'd know some of those words, but I'm not Polish. I mean, I'm surrounded by Polish and Ukrainian businesses, but yet I know Dupa, Guvna, and
I know
Yakshamash.
that. Yeah, Dupa, that's your butt.
So Peter tries to go use the phone. Guess what? Phone dead.
And I love how many times he tries.
Yeah,
and then he puts it down.
Picks it up again.
Picks it up again. And goes, oh, no, it's dead.
He starts, did you get the hotel? Knowing full well he didn't. No.
Love how he just nonchalantly. Everything is.
Oh, look at that grin on his face, too. Big shit-eating grin.
Because he gets his way in everything.
He's getting his jollies off this, man.
Oh, yeah, he's satanic. He
is, man.
The devil is saying, do your thing.
That's the big angry fire wizard that lives below the ground.
There's
another fire wizard in the sky.
That was another cool scene right there where it just went from one scene pan with the door opening.
It's like a wipe almost, it
was kind of cool.
So he gets her fur on. He's like, come on, darling, we're going. We're just walking. Leave your luggage. We'll send for it later. Yeah, like, he's not nice enough to do anything for you. You think he's going to send your friggin' luggage?
And he opens his up and he goes, my
automatic's been taken.
Yeah, my automatic. I was thinking of the word he said.
Someone rifled through his luggage and stole his pistol.
Yeah.
I mean, because he might want to try to catch them a rabbit, while
look
they're
at
walking.
the intense look on Bella's face here as he's playing chess. Yeah. And the director kept telling him, get into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And Bella just comes,
Well, look at how symbolic this chess match is. It's not just for the movie, but how
he was pissed
between
at that. I heard
these two icons of horror films.
I heard that he just really was. Oh, okay, and then So Peter and Joan come down the steps, and they're getting ready to take off and leave, but Bella.
Thammo's not going to let him leave.
Yeah,
knocks him out.
So
blocks the door and knocks Peter out.
Yeah, you would.
Majordomo grabs Joan. Chicks fainted so easily back then. I've never actually seen like a chick faint like that.
Yeah, you think she'd freak out and just like start. The girls nowadays pick up a glass and knock you over the head with it.
Yeah, I mean I miss the old days. Things were less complicated.
Yeah, where's the bitches, yo?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
See, this is what we said. Sometimes we're born in the wrong time.
Bitches and hoes, bitches and hoes.
World is full of
bitches and hoes.
Look, he just takes her, sets her back down on the bed.
We should never even said that because it's. But I can't take it out and delete it because this is so classy. This is.
You're right. We shouldn't be talking.
We can't talk about.
Have a little bit of class.
Modern time. It's just an Art Deco thing to kind of do.
I'm even pointing at nothing. There's no counter up here, is there?
So what do you know?
He could put one in.
So Polzig, I could. I'd have to sit through the entire thing again, and every time I say it,
got nothing better to do. Do it. It's not like you have a job. I was kidding.
Anyways,
kidding. Like I have a job. You have a job.
Polzig,
taking care of kids is a job.
Exactly.
Anybody want to buy a kid? I got too many.
Oh my god. How much? But he puts him up on her up in the room and locks her in, and Peter and not Peter. Peter's been taken.
Peter's knocked out. He's They're gonna put him in the rotunda room.
Yes. There's this strange. You want to describe the room?
It's circular, but it's almost like it. There's a doorway, but you gotta the chamber has to revolve to get.
It's like the old toys that you would get.
Where
you twist it. I know. I'm trying to think
of a toy that was like that.
Where you twist it and the door will appear, but if you twist it again,
the door will disappear, and you just got to line up the holes to get.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Something like the '80s, they made those houses like that a lot. It was kind of cool.
There's real houses like that.
Kids,
you said toys. In the '80s. Oh, you said in the '80s.
But
there's houses like that. Yeah, there it is. Look, it's like this steel-walled. Round room opens
and look
up.
at Majordomo's there.
Majordomo.
And Thammo is his friend now.
Just throwing his ass in there.
He threw him down good, though. At least he didn't hit the back of his head.
Throw him to the floor.
Throw him to the floor. Who needs him no more? Fall on your hands. You can play with crayons. You can mark yourself words. You can be a big bird. You can fly away up into the hole in the ceiling and never be back. Oh, what a feeling.
Oh, and here's Boris playing, Look, he doesn't have sheet music. He has that memorized.
Oh, that's the only thing he plays when he goes.
It's like the classic, haunted house kind of music. Yeah. Oh, look, Bella's sitting there watching him play.
He gets the Art Deco skeleton key.
The skeleton key. And he's going to go up there. I don't even know what his plan is.
He starts to turn. He wants to reassure Joan
that he's not a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy, and I'm here to help you.
You have to be brave.
Yes, I'm Dracula. I will be here, Lucy, to suck your blood. Lucy.
So great as Dracula.
Lucy. But anyways,
I love that. Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he is trying to reassure her. He has no intention to hurt her. But, right now things are in motion that he's not really going to be able to stop. So just be brave, wait for the time, and, I'll get you out of here. Basically.
What's that cat doing down there in that corner?
It's a black cat. Oh, jeez. Give me a knife.
Oh, my.
And there's that face again, man. How'd you let that guy sucking on your neck?
Oh, God.
The
thing is that people, know he's Dracula.
Yes.
But really, for a good time, he's got a lot of good stuff out there. I mean, he really does. People think he did Dracula and kind of fell down and off the thing,
he
but
did
no,
lots of films.
he did.
I mean, his
but
later
a lot
career,
of people don't
but he was
think
always
that.
turning out movies, pretty much. I mean, until later in his career, and then it got.
I mean, they got cheesy B, but you know.
I mean, everybody will watch that Tim Burton Ed Wood movie and think that's really how it happened. It's
That's
not
what I'm
exactly,
saying. That's what I'm
even
saying.
though some of the things in that movie were true, not everything in that movie was true. But it is a good movie. I still enjoy it. I used to.
all right.
Me and my dad used to love watching those Ed Wood movies. They were just so horribly bad.
Are you kidding me? I can watch Plan 9 from Outer Space over and over.
I always like Bride of the Monster. That's my favorite one.
That's
the one with Bella and the octopus and all that. I mean, it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie, and it does have some great dialogue in it.
Fight with the octopus! Fight!
I know,
Move its tentacles! Move its tentacles! That's so good,
Poor
man.
guy.
Oh, I love it. But so yeah, he goes up there. What are we putting them to sleep?
Well, obviously, Karloff stops playing the organ long enough to know that the jig is up. So he goes up to Joan's room, catches Bella in there, locks her back in, takes the key
Jig is up
But now Joan's in her room alone, and coming
that.
through one of the side doors somehow is this blonde lady. That pretty blonde lady we saw laying in the bed.
Who 20 seconds earlier, a black cat just jumped out of that room and passed Joan.
And here's where we find out through their conversation that
I love that black silk nightgown she's got on.
Bela Lugosi's wife, whose name was Karen, died. This is his daughter, who Karloff, Karloff would have been her stepfather.
Right.
And he has some power over her. We saw him do his little,
hypnotized thing.
And she says, my name is Karen.
Yes.
And she is married now to Karloff. And he's outside the door. He's listening to all this, and he's going to come in and basically he's going to kind of kill her off screen. They're going to go back there, and you're going to hear her scream, and he's going to TCB with her, take care of business.
Yeah, I mean he picks that. I like how he picks that black cat up when he walks in there first, and makes her run into the room.
But I mean,
the door,
this is another thing about this movie: sick and twisted. This is his stepdaughter, who he presumably would have known as a small child.
Yeah.
And, when the wife died, he turned her into his wife.
Yeah.
I love this scene here because this is actually an outdoor scene.
Yes.
Out on the patio, you could see the storm clouds moving, the wind blowing.
Because it's becoming that devilish night where they are going to worship. Mm-hmm. And he does have some lines here. He speaks something. But
we must prepare for the guests.
Yes.
Basically, that's it.
The other Satanists are coming.
But such a great scene.
But yes, I do love that. Yes.
Something about wind through trees, man. It's just...
Especially black and white, like this. The old...
And that was a real outdoor scene because you could see the clouds moving. So that was really cool. And here are all the guests.
Yes.
Here's Karloff in his Lucifer robe with his pentagram.
Yeah.
Looking all evil.
Yeah, classic scene with him in his costume and all the other people, whatever you want to call them, patrons or whatever, Satanists.
It's all the high society. We all have to be blood-drinking devil worshippers to keep our loot.
And I like the Art Deco altered area that they get.
You don't see poor people worshiping the devil. It's always these rich motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's true.
All of it. It's always these hoity-toity types. Whatever.
Because they've given their soul to the devil. The devil.
Whatever.
But isn't this? It's. I love.
Might as well live in a cave and be afraid of the sun.
We're coming up to some really cool scenes here.
Yes. What a weird altar this is.
I was going to say that it's just like two wooden beams that they painted for the set. And in the background, they got some like dark crystal type crystals coming up in the background.
Yeah.
Like
the
just
shard
shooting out the back, like Superman's Crystal City.
Yeah,
looks a little bit like that in the back of him.
We got somebody.
I don't know, but
you know who that was playing the organ?
No,
John Carradine.
Was it really?
Yes, it is. He's uncredited.
No way. But he starts doing his
who would later go on to play Dracula in one of the other Universal horror films.
And they just show his hands. That's it.
That's it. He's uncredited, but that's John Carradine right there. Look, all the women, man, they're in their robes, like eyes wide shut style, getting down.
Yes, they're not getting down, but he says some something, like Jumala,
It's
Balay,
Latin. It's just a bunch of Latin
Assalamu
phrases.
alaikum.
Look at the
he
obelisk
says.
there. Oh,
Does
look,
he say that?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah,
No, I hope
Assalamu
not.
alaikum.
Oh, and look, here's some of the other devil worshippers upstairs getting Joan all garbed in white and ready
Yes.
to go, man. Just dragging her down there.
And do you like how that she's being carried down and dragged down to this kind of altered type thing? And they put her up on there, and she's not tied or nothing, but they just let her go.
Man, she faints again, man. She's useless. She's useless in a crisis.
I mean, she should be fighting back.
Here's the
and
scene I'm
running
talking about
around
with
and
these
stuff.
neat close-ups. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yes,
love
there.
it. You know,
Bella.
Bella looks
Oh, my
fantastic.
God.
And see, he's a witness to all this as
Even
well.
there, in the background, Joan, that glimpse of her face, the background. The cinematography here was awesome.
Well, the guy who directed that's what he did for Fritz Lang. So,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
and I like how, Lugosi, he's not a participant, but he's an observer of this.
He's observing.
And he's free to move about. Mm-hmm. I mean,
they're doing their thing, and I think Boris Karloff has come to the point. We're just going with the names.
so much easier.
It's come to the point to where he just knows he can just do whatever, and he's just doing his thing and getting this worship over and sacrifice over with. But it's going to be messed with here soon by Peter.
Peter, yeah, he
But
finds...
Bella is watching, and Thamo is kind of by Bella's side now again.
Yeah.
His servant. And
it's all been a show for Thamo. It's all been a show.
Yeah. I guess he's.
But it's nice that they put Peter in a room that he was able to light a match and find his way out of.
That's true.
Because he finds the little door handle and.
I did not understand that. Yeah, because he got the light on and
maybe Thamo didn't lock it on purpose.
Could be.
See, again, you got to add your own stuff.
Because you don't figure any of this out. I mean, it's left to the imagination.
Most of the time, if a movie like this came out today, it had been totally trashed.
So what happened that got Bella and Thamo to go get Joan? I can't remember.
One of the practitioners, one of the hoity-toities,
yes.
We don't really see what happens, but she screams.
Yeah.
And so they're all kind of getting out of there.
Okay.
I'm not sure. You never actually see what it is that makes her scream. And yeah, here they go, walking through the menagerie.
So they were able to get Joan out of the way,
yes.
And Peter is out of his,
Yep, he's out, and the door opens, and Major Domo.
He's where all the women are hanging.
Look, he's got his gun, man. Look at it, man. They're fighting.
Major Domo is kind of rough.
Right.
Tough guy. He's maybe small, but he's...
Thamo and Lugosi get Joan out
rambling
of
with them, and
the worship chamber.
And Peter is kind of beaten down again. He's kind of a sissy. He's sitting on the ground going like this. Oh, my poor chin.
My chin. Oh, God, look, there's Major Domo. I mean, he's got his gun. And look, he shoots Thamo.
Thamo, yes.
Thamo doesn't even stop.
No.
He doesn't even stop. He
do you like how he doesn't care to give his life for Bella, too? That's the one thing about these butlers and servants back then. They would give their life for
Is that like what Mantan Moreland would do for Charlie Chan?
Oh, hell no.
No?
I'm getting out of here, boss.
I'm out the way, boss.
I'm out the way.
Mantan Moreland.
Oh.
Even did some dirty comedy later
man.
on.
Oh,
That was hilarious.
He did some horror comedy, the zombie one.
Yeah, we did a podcast. I don't know if that was audio or video, but
I can't remember
it was an early one. We did a double feature. We did 2 movies.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We used to do.
Holy Christ!
There's a couple podcasts way back when where we did 2 movies.
Yeah.
And
before we eventually got into commentaries and we went all the way through.
Before we knew what we were doing, but way back. So now they're in the chamber where his dead daughter's body
is laid out on some Art Deco surgical table.
And Bela sees her, and he's in misery.
I'm just saying that because...
Oh, and here's the fight between Karloff and Lugosi.
And this is where, technically, Karloff is kind of the tougher guy. Because Thamo actually comes stumbling. And it is a great fight. You can see the
intensity on
Karloff
their faces.
is just about ready to choke him out. And Thamo comes in, grabs the back of
even though he got
Karloff.
capped. And look, even a rare shot of blood. You don't usually see blood in these films.
No.
Blood dripping from his mouth. I mean, even Dracula,
and the back,
you don't see a drop of blood.
You can see it on the jacket. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing, man. They
Right.
did good in this movie.
They get him down, and what they do is there happens to be like a what do you call those things? A rack, like a cross like that with a couple of manacles, and they're gonna put.
They saved that from the set from King Kong.
Oh yeah.
And
Clearly.
put it in here.
And yeah, they get Karloff, even though he's struggling, they get his ass in those manacles, and he just rips his shirt off.
Yeah, he's
ripped.
He's ripped, man. He's strong and. Yeah.
Peter's gonna come to
Boris
here a little
Karloff,
bit.
he's a strong guy. I heard he could put 300 pounds over his head.
Oh, no diggity, no doubt.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just
Look
like
at
the
ripping his
original
clothes
Frankenstein.
off. And yeah, Thomel goes down for the count.
Yeah, I love the scene where Bella's hair is just like flowing in front. Nice.
This
to
is
have
where
that
he's going
big
to have
head
his
of hair,
revenge.
huh?
Yeah, this is his opportunity.
Thick Hungarian hair.
Where he's going to get his revenge.
And again, Boris is ripped. The guy just did 1,000 sit-ups a day and smoked Pall Malls.
Yep. He smoked Pall Malls while he crunched.
This is what the real monsters do.
Oh, look at him here, face to face. He tells him, I'm gonna,
I'm going to.
Have you ever seen I forgot what animal he mentions, but have you ever seen an animal be skinned? That's what I'm going to do to you.
Yes, I'm going to
skin you, flay you a little at a time.
Yes, and it's
Bella
very
rushes
morbid.
madly to the table and picks up a scalpel, and it all happens in shadows off screen.
Yes,
but I mean, what he's doing. He's taking that
Joan
scalpel and
screams,
cutting pieces of his flesh off.
Peter gets up. Yeah, and they show
How's
it.
that gun still there?
Right there. See the shadows?
Peter picks up a gun.
You can see the shadows of him just cutting away the skin.
Hearing him scream. But somehow when Peter comes to, there's a pistol there.
Yeah.
But Major Domo had the pistol when he shot Thomel with it. I don't know if that's a goof or not.
Well, when they started fighting, he might have dropped it.
Well, yeah,
when
but
Thomel
then
started fighting him.
But then Thomel had it. I mean, Major Domo had it when he shot Thomel after that scene. So I don't know why that gun's there. But I like the movie.
But nevertheless,
she's trying to get the key out
and this is
of
sad.
Major Domo's hand.
Yes.
To go, release Peter, get out of here. And when Peter comes up to the door, because Bella's also trying to help her.
Yeah, it looks like he's fighting her down, or something.
He mistakes Bella as attacking her and shoots him in the back.
He's really only trying to get the key.
You fool, I was trying to help you.
Yes, you fool. Get out.
Oh, and it's time to mention that somewhere earlier in this film it was mentioned that basically this whole house is loaded with dynamite underneath.
Yes.
I don't know if that's left over from the fort or if
for demolition.
Yeah. And, Bella's like, yeah, we're going up in flames, baby.
He goes, you look very happy with being skinned.
The
but
red switch is the dynamite,
yes,
no?
it's the one that will blow this place to smithereens.
Yep. And luckily...
It will blow Hungary off the map.
Is there that much TNT packed in there? They're running. Look at it. Joan and Peter, man. Look at it.
You like the Art Deco shadowing effect that they got going on there?
They're really not tearing ass nearly fast enough, man. I'd be taking them steps 8 at a time.
Here's another switch.
I'd be running like it's the Burger King sweepstakes.
This is where I should be going. 1!
It's alive!
2 switches!
Look at how the door slides. It's like Star Trek.
Yeah, I know.
And you see the igniter going, and they're down at the bottom of the hill there, and kablooey, there goes the house.
I'm just looking at Joan's legs as she's running out.
Yeah, she's showing some leg. And, oh, thank God, here comes a car.
People think I'm nuts. Probably.
Why?
They're going.
That's what was cool back then. It was less complicated. You saw it was classy. I mean, there was still porn if you wanted it. It was just, down on the down low.
Some vintage stuff going on there.
But on the train.
On the train.
Heading home. Or heading to wherever the hell they were going.
They're still going to their honeymoon.
Jesus. Well, they got reservations and non-refundable. We're going on this trip.
Sorry, honey, we are going there. But I paid good money for it.
Here they've got some Hungarian newspaper. Oh, I forgot to mention he's a writer. He's a novelist.
Mystery novelist. Yes.
Right, and there's a review for his latest book, and he doesn't get the best review because they say that he should stick to subject matter that's realistic.
Yeah, they're like none of this could possibly have ever happened.
And now they're thinking about all the things they just went through. Like, oh God, that wasn't real. Wait till my next one.
Exactly.
And a little laugh, a little smooch or whatever, and the end.
Yeah, I mean they're on that train. They're headed off. She's got her blanket around her, kind of like
she doesn't have a top on.
Like they just ran straight to the train and they took off. Mm-hmm. And Q plane,
little plane
around
where-
the
and a good cast is
the-
always worth repeating. Universal always did that with their films there. I thought that was always classy.
But yeah, what a very Art Deco kind of movie.
I love that Major Domo's first name was Egon.
Egon. Thamo. This movie had it all, man. Had strange names,
It did.
strange sets,
Yes.
strange
I
concept.
still can't pronounce
Strange.
Karloff's character's first name. Hjalmar, Halmar.
I think it's Hamel.
I don't know. What the hell do you... who puts an H and a J
No,
right next to each other?
Halmer. Whatever.
Halmer?
It doesn't. Halmer.
All right.
They're not of this country. They're of outer space.
Oh.
I think they came from the planet Venus. That's why his
Did they
hair
come
was
from
like
Uranus?
that. Oh, they did that too.
It was my anus.
They used tux pads because the guy always gave them an itch.
I don't buy Tux Pads. You just buy Witch Hazel. It's the same thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Cool it off.
But there you go, man.
The Black Cat. What a great movie. I'm glad you liked it.
Yes.
I've been
I
on
would
your
recommend
ass
everybody
to watch that movie. So
yeah.
and now they don't play it very often.
This is one you if you're a horror lover, especially of the old stuff, you don't pass on this one.
Yeah,
Watch
that's a
it,
good-
man.
They don't show it very much
Hopefully you
anymore.
watched it with us. And
They
had a
used to
good
show
time.
it on like Superhost, and it was one of those like when they first started syndicating. You know,
Is that
when they
all
sold
there
packages of horror movies to the local
Is
stations.
that
This was
all there
I forgot what it
is?
was called, but that
Yeah.
it was it was in that
Is
pack
that
of
all
movies
there is,
that
my friend?
various TV stations could buy the rights to show whenever they wanted to.
Right.
And that's how they get these movies to show. They buy those packs.
Syndication. Right?
Yeah. So that was in the first group of like 50
that
films
All
that they put
there
out.
is.
That's all there
Break
is.
out the
There
booze
isn't anymore.
and have a ball. Is that all?
That's all,
there
man.
is? And yeah, you guys are probably going to get some more of these old Universal black and whites.
Yeah, I'm
again
in the
here.
mood now. Let's
we're
pick
we're
one.
going to go through a little stretch, so it's what you're going to get from us, man. And again, like us, like our Facebook page, The Late Late
Mm-hmm.
Horror Show. Like us on iTunes, we're part of Horror Town, HORROR Town. You click on iTunes and you can listen to this audio podcast, which you get a little bit extra in. It's different than this because there's other things that I insert in there, so it's a little bit
He
different.
said insert.
Insert. Q finger, Q jelly.
That was
That
cool.
was like really cool of you to do. Like, stick your finger in your bunghole. Anyways, yeah, there you go, you guys. Another good old classic commentary in the hopper, and we only continue.
All right.
We'll see you 10 years from now. We'll be 10 years older. We'll still be doing commentaries.
Movie with
This movie here we got, going there, It's a classic,
It is a classic. They're all classics.
We'll be talking. No, we won't be talking about it. Anyways, peace out, guys. Lady Show. Boom.